Good morning, James.
Hello,
I've spoken to you before. I was a Remainer with Veterans for Europe.
Yes.
And now, after it's all over, the people here in Spain, the people who call themselves expats, who are really immigrants like me, they are the ones who are moaning the most now. For example,
you've launched your own phone-in, which is absolutely your prerogative. It's your show as much as mine, Gareth, but you're not necessarily going to have a swing at what Boris Johnson is playing at this week. You're simply giving us an update on how...
Yes, no, but it is relevant to that, because what I'm saying is he's got to speak to the people here as much as anybody else, the Leavers,
yes,
who are all moaning about... and he's got to show that he's actually right down to the line. He's been... on their side and trying to do the best for them and all the rest of it. He's going to have to make concessions.
Well, is that a big enough constituency for him to worry about?
Well, it's the constituency that matches the people who are moaning about Brexit, who are the Brexiters in England, isn't it, really? Because they're not getting what they wanted.
So he insulates himself from their criticism by turning up in Brussels saying, I've done absolutely everything possible, but I still couldn't do it, folks. Cogito ergo sum. And then...
Yes, exactly. And my theory is, my observation is that the people who were the Remainers are now much more adjusted to the leaving process than the people who were the Leavers.
Yes, of course.
Because we've all got our Spanish driving licences here. They haven't. They're all saying, oh, my God, we've got to change over to Spanish licences. What's wrong with a good old British driving licence, eh?
Yeah, Project Fear, mate.
Well, it's just Barnier being spiteful because he doesn't like Brexit. That's why they've got to get Spanish driving licences and this kind of stuff. So I think Johnson has to appeal now to the people who supported his Brexit and say, look, it really is something that they've messed up in Europe, and we did our best. They didn't want us to leave, and they've messed it up for us.
So that's option.
What he's going to say.
That's option 3. You're going for option 3. I'm here in Brussels, folks, to demonstrate that I've done my absolute best for you, Dulce et decorum est. But but they wouldn't let me. Those pesky froggies, or whatever it's going to be.
Yes, exactly.
They wouldn't. I'm going to struggle to argue with you. You know that, but I should at least try. Don't laugh. This is
Well, I'm laughing because I had a conversation with a Brexiter here just earlier a couple of days ago, and he was absolutely fuming about having to get all these papers changed. We've had notices from the British Embassy in Madrid, and people are just sort of waking up to it now. The people who are below the radar, who've never been involved with Spanish paperwork, they're the people who are suffering now. I mean, I'm getting my Spanish passport shortly. I hope I'm waiting for it to come through.
Who do you think they will blame? Who do you think they will blame?
They'll blame the Remainers.
How will that be?
I daren't drink in an English pub here anymore because the feelings are so high amongst the Leavers.
And how in their own minds would it be your fault that they've punched themselves in the face?
Because if we hadn't, this is what they think. If we hadn't fought against Brexit with all our campaigning, the demonstrations, I was flying over to London, talking to people here about how bad it was going to be for British immigrants here and so on, and they now blame us because if it had all gone their way without us resisting Brexit, then it would have been straightforward. That's basically their point of view.
And then you say, explain that to me.
And that position for their disappointment.
So you say, just explain the reasoning behind that to me, and they empty a jug of sangria over your head, because that's that. I mean, it's the old Brexit. It's the same Brexit conversation as all of them.
It turns to anger very quickly.
Yeah, so just ask for an explanation or evidence.
I was threatened with violence just for saying what makes you think that it's going to be so much better now.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't like British pubs anymore anyway.
No.
But I wouldn't go in one now because it's too dangerous.
And how many? Because you're known for your advocacy for.
Exactly.
Yes. It's a funny old world, isn't it? When being proved right puts you in physical danger.
Yes, there are 3 of us, Veterans for Europe, on this coastline.
Right.
And
I remember talking to you.
And we were known because we were wearing the uniform and so on.
Yeah, I do remember. What's the likelihood of people having to move back here?
there are already people moving back to the UK. They tend to be the leavers.
But through choice as opposed to necessity. I mean, would it be possible to stay if you wanted to, even if you were an ardent?
Absolutely, right. Absolutely, because the Spanish government have been so good. They really have been good. They've given us everything that the Europeans in the UK didn't get, basically. And we didn't ask for it. They've just given it to us. Reassurances of all sorts.
So people are coming back because... because it would be too much for them to swallow the idea that the Spanish government has looked out for them more than the British government has, or what?
Yeah, it's just a simple thing like having to change over to a Spanish driving licence. That just sends people berserk.
Yes, I see.
I don't know why.
Well,
because they're associated.
Well, you do know why. They voted
Swansea, and that's British.
They voted to reduce red tape.
With Madrid.
It's just why they get angry with the wrong people. But that's the conversation we've been having almost since the beginning, doesn't it?
I mean, the red tape here, in my experience, is now, it used to be pretty poor, the bureaucracy in Spain. But in my experience, it's very straightforward and very friendly. And it's easy to get the things that you need to continue life in Spain as a British immigrant.